Okay, let's do a quick little review before you take your test. Again, make sure you have your notes from 6.6, 6.7, and 6.8 out. Be neat and organized and have a calculator handy. And please do not share your information with anyone and do not use any other resources but your notes. So I just want to remind us how to find the vertex. So if I were to ask you to convert this equation into vertex form, we would need to know the vertex. So to find the vertex, our formula is negative b over 2a. That's going to give you the x value of the vertex. And then you're going to plug that value into your function. So when you see f of, you're going to take the value of whatever that is and plug it into the equation. So let's find the x part of this vertex. So I'm going to say negative b over 2 times a, and I get 1. Then we're going to take this value 1 and plug it into the function. So the y part, we're going to replace all my x's with the value of 1. In order of operations, square the 1 times 2, 4 times 1. I'm going to combine my like terms, my like signs, and I should get 8. So this is my vertex. In vertex form, that's the H and that's the K. My A value is 2. Your A value is the same in all three forms, so I could easily write this into vertex form. So my A is 2, then it's X minus your H value, and then plus your K value. So this would be vertex form. Okay, just a quick reminder of quadratic transformations. You're always transforming from the parent function f of x equals, oh, excuse me, erase that. That would be the exponential. F of x equals x squared, quadratic. Okay, so when we transform our parent function, there are several things that could happen. Your h value tells your horizontal shift, left or right. It's the opposite of what you think, okay? Your a value can do a couple of things. The first thing is it could tell you that our parent function is being dilated. If the absolute value of a is more than 1, that is a stretch. Our graph is more narrow. If the absolute value of a is between 0 and 1, this is a compression, a vertical compression. And this provides or gives a wider graph. The third thing that could happen is if a is negative, so if a is less than 0, that means if it's negative, it is a vertical reflection across the x-axis, which I write as y equals 0. So remember, this is how we'll indicate it on the test. And then fourthly, because we're doing it in sequential order, like order of operations, fourthly, because you always add or subtract last, the K is a vertical shift, either up or down. If it's positive, it goes up. If it's negative, it goes down. So just to recap on the horizontal shift, if this is x minus 3, I'm going to go 3 units to the right. If it's x plus 3, I'm going to go 3 units to the left. Okay, the last little tidbit on which quadratic equation are you going to use? It all depends on what you have been given. So you can use standard form when your input values, that should say are consecutive, okay, and they're integers. And the y-intercept is given. So if you want to pause this video and write this down, by all means do that. You can use factored, so that was standard. You can use factored form when both roots, both x-intercepts are given and an additional point is given. Then you can use vertex form, obviously, when the vertex point is given and additional point. Now, let me just remind you, you can only find your A value from a function table if and only if your input values are consecutive integers. So here we have a function table. I'm not going to work these out, but I'm going to go through and tell you which of these you could use. So standard form. Can I use standard? First of all, I have to make sure that these x values are consecutive integers, and they are. There's no gaps. I'm going from least to greatest. So then I have to check, is the y-intercept given? Yes. So I could use standard form given this information. Okay, could I use factor form? Well, yes, I have been given both zeros, both x-intercepts, and plenty of other additional points. So remember, once you use one point, like if I'm doing factor form, and I use -2, 0 to plug in and 4, 0, I can no longer use those points to plug in for x and f of x to find the a. And then lastly, vertex. I did indicate it on this chart that the vertex is given, and of course on the test or quizzes, I will always indicate it either by writing it or highlighting it. But my vertex actually is this point right here. So this is the vertex. So if you wanted to use vertex, you could use it because you have the vertex. You could plug in for, here would be your H and this would be your K. And then there's plenty of other points to plug in for X and f of X to find the A value. So remember, take your time. You have 90 minutes. I think there's about 23 questions. I do know several of them, they do take long. Organize your work on paper, write your workout, number your paper, put your name on it because you will be submitting it at the end of the pathway, like we've been doing with all of our activities. As soon as everybody has submitted it, I will release the test and you can see what you missed. But if I even have one person that has not finished it, then I'm going to have to wait. And I will have probably on Monday a live session of going over all these questions, and I'll also make pre-recorded videos in case you can't make it to the session at 12. Now, I did give you a choice that you could start this test Thursday and finish it Thursday or Friday. I would really love if everybody took it today, and that way we could use tomorrow to go over the answers. Let's see, I think that, once you start the test, you cannot pause it. If you pause it, the time still ticks away. It will be deactivated at 9 p.m. this evening, and then if you choose to take it tomorrow, it'll be deactivated at 9. So good luck, you can do it, and just take your time, and you will have plenty of time to go back and recheck your work.